think there's still a team that has the ability to control a game with their midfield. I think that they put you under pressure. I think there's times where some teams, you go through a bit of a drought, or you kind of can't get the final product, but they still have extremely talented players and experienced players that can control a game, and that's dangerous.
Are those tough teams to play when they're not, say, a wounded dog, but you just know that their offense isn't clicking and you just can't take them for granted, I would assume?
Well, I think it's a situation, especially when you're at home, you want to get on top of the game, get on top of it early. I think that teams that have been struggling, it's kind of similar to the Orlando game. You want to get out there and get ahead of the game, just to kind of solidify some thoughts that they might have in their head. I think if you let them creep into the game and get some opportunities, then the tides can shift a bit.
Jeff, can you talk about your role in Top as a counter press? And if you've played in any other teams in your career where you were on a team where the identity of the team was based around the press and high pressure throughout the midfield?
I haven't been on a team as well defined in terms of how we're playing and pressing in this way. But my role is just to kind of follow the wave. I'm not the first wave, I'm kind of the second wave that comes through. Obviously the front 3 or 4 go first. But it means you have to be willing to play one-on-one or even one-on-two maybe at times in the back. So you have to kind of put the fire out quickly and put it out ahead of you. So as the forward players step on and create 1v1s defensively, I'm kind of stepping on as well. So I'm not staying with my guy, I'm moving to the next line. And like I said, that's kind of the second wave. Once they create the first bit of pressure, then their chances are they're leaving someone open behind them, and that's the person that I'm stepping into.
And then in possession, if someone like Leandro pushes forward with the ball or Parky, your role, you're pushing back, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially with those two players. I can remember one of the first training sessions we ever had as a team in Florida. That was kind of one of the original concepts that we went over, was that sort of push and pull between myself and the center backs or whoever plays in that holding midfield spot. It's just about creating space and making the defense think about, okay, well, who do I want to mark at this point? If I go to Leandro, then that leaves Jeff open. If I stay with Jeff, then Leandro has space. So it's kind of a push and pull, but it's just about creating opportunities for someone to have a better sight line for a pass forward.
Thanks.
You have a new teammate coming in. He may walk in while we're interviewing you. Have you done any scouting of him? Watched any video just to see, how y'all's pairing might work?
No, I haven't. It'll be interesting to meet him and to see what he's about. I've heard a lot of good things, and I've probably seen what you've seen. Well, maybe not what you've seen. You've probably seen more than me, but I see what they've put online. But I think that at the moment we're a strong core of a team. We've got a great roster and someone with his experience. Although it's not a ton of experience, but it seems for a young age he has a good bit. His pedigree, that it's only going to help the group.
Y'all have what's supposed to be the easiest schedule for the remainder of the season among the Supporter Shield contenders. Does that matter?
Well, first of all, that's all on paper, right? I don't think anyone's kind of put it through a simulator or anything like that. But we'll see. Teams that have poor starts have good finishes, and vice versa. So those things can shift kind of quickly, and a team that might not have been performing well in the front half of the year could turn things around and make a push towards the end of the year. So you always have to be careful. I think that one thing that we've shown to do well this year is to play well on the road, and I think that always will help you in the Supporter Shield. So I think if we continue that sort of form, playing on the road, trying to take care of business at home, taking it game by game, we should be in good shape.
Seattle is kind of the epitome of that, starting out slow and finishing really well the past couple of years.
Yeah, of course, and it was kind of a theme for a long time, in the MLS, teams that would start poorly and then go on a run. I think that what you see is kind of twofold. You have the team that's fighting out of a hole, and then you have maybe more complacent teams at the top. And you put those two things together, and that can give you a result you're not expecting. So I think, like I said, our job is to focus on performing well, focus on playing game by game, and not getting that complacent feeling and pushing on against whatever opponent we play.
We were asking Brad about if he was going to watch the World Cup while he tried to get ready for the game. I was curious how you're going to try to approach that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we get to the stadium pretty early, so there's plenty of opportunities to watch, and there's plenty of televisions as well. So even when you turn around, or you could be doing anything to prepare yourself, and there's a television in front of your face. So it's the World Cup final. I mean, everyone's going to be watching.
He picked France. What's your
He picked France. Safe bet. I'm actually pulling for Croatia. I think, once it got down to the last 6, it was all European teams. That was the team I was pulling for.
Well, why is that?
It's a small nation. They kind of keep their mouth shut and go about their business. They've got, everyone's talking about golden generations. You look at the players on the field from such a tiny country, and the pedigree they have is impressive. And it's kind of their last probably cycle for those players. So, the midfield players they have, the players they have up front, it seems like it would be good to see them there.
Jeff, have you ever joined a team mid-season, or I'm sure you, if not, I'm sure you've seen you've been on teams that have had players come in. Just wondering if you could share some insight on what the challenges are for a player like Eric coming in.
I've never done it, not in the MLS. Every time I've switched teams has been in the off season, so that's kind of been a positive. It's difficult. I mean, it's not like he's coming here from Kansas City either. He's coming from another country, another culture, another language. Luckily for him, we've got plenty of people within his culture that can make him feel comfortable. I think that's the hardest thing is coming in and finding out where your personality fits in, because what gets done on the field is the most important thing, and whether you're a nice person, a mean person, it doesn't matter. Once you step on the field, you got to do your job, and I think he'll probably understand that. But off the field, kind of getting your bearings in a new city and a new culture is going to be the hardest thing. But like I said, we've got plenty of people in the building that can help him out with that.
Jeff, was it too much for
last one? He's got to go.
Was it too much for fans and the media to kind of think you guys would sustain that offensive punch kind of and just that scoring the way you'd been going, or was that? I know it was a fast start, but is that something we kind of maybe took for granted? How many goals you guys were scoring early on?
I say it a lot. I mean, we're kind of spoiled, right? You look at the goals we've scored and the way games have gone at home, and it doesn't happen often. And you look at other teams as well. You just kind of compare the way that sometimes they take their chances versus how our guys take their chances. I'm not being cocky, but when you have an opportunity, you either take it or you don't. And I think the amazing thing about the attacking players that we have is that they seem to take their chances, and that's really important, and that separates a good team from a team that might not be winning. And I think that at this point, maybe we're not winning 7-0, but winning 2-1 is just as good.